What is going on, you guys? This is Brandon.
And I'm Verno.
Welcome back to Comics Kings. Welcome back to the kingdom. If this is your first time here, big welcome to you. I really appreciate everyone. If this is your first time, you checking out the show. This really is our flagship show here where this is where you can interact with us live only because we kind of cut back on our live streams. But I do want to thank Verno for being here today. Bryce is studying for a final. So Verno, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Name's Verno. You got that right so far. From the Cerebros, I talk comic books over on the Cerebros podcast and YouTube channel. We do weekly reviews and weekly comic book discussions, damn near exactly like this show. It's pretty much the same thing, but I have a different guest on each week, and we go through the books, man.
There you go. Verno runs a great show. He reviews books just like I do, like he said, but he goes really into depth. He has a lot of knowledge, and he's really good at explaining why he believes a certain point of view. And it's a different breakdown, right? So if you're done hearing about me and Bryce, always go over to Verno because it's good to get a bunch of different ideas so then you can go and formulate your own and all of that good stuff. But I do want to say a quick hello to the chat. Thank you all for being here. Nick, how are you doing, brother? Missing Link, we got in the chat. Other co-host of Comics Kings. We got my man Ragin in here. I haven't seen you in a while, Ragin. Ragin had a great show this past week with the guys from the Low Grade. So definitely go check that out on his YouTube channel. We got Oh Brother Comic Station. I've not seen you in any of my chats, so it's great to see you here tonight. I'm really excited to see you. We got my man Bryce studying, but he's doing double duty. He's doing the textbook and he's doing this. We got
Get back to the books, Bryce.
Steven Smith in here. What is going on, everybody? We got Sal in here. We got JT. We got Jimmy. Welcome, everybody. And if you guys read a book, you guys want to have a conversation in the comments, go right ahead. That is what this show is for. Verno, thanks for picking up my slack. I got to head out, but I can't wait to catch the replay. Catch you later. What is going on, chat? Make sure you guys hit the like button on your way in. It's free. Another thing that is free is subscribing to the channel. That goes a long way, you guys. We're really pushing that 500 right now. And we got, it's a Komar from Discord. What's going on, man? I'm in this Discord and he's there. It's great. It's BJ Kicks. It's the K Squad. So it's awesome. Big shout out to them. And Herm, have a good day at work, brother. Thank you for tuning in for a little bit. But yeah, guys, we're pushing 500. So make sure if you guys want to help us, all you got to do, just pass on the word. There's a great channel, Comics Kings. We do a lot of creator interviews. We do a lot of hot comic book conversations, book reviews, and we do a lot of deep dives as well. Also, make sure you're subbed up to Verno. If I can get a moderator to drop his link in the chat, that would be very much appreciated. Stefan, if you can go ahead and do that. Or who else is in here? How come Bryce isn't a mod? How's my own co-host not a moderator? I don't know. Verno, what'd you read this week, brother?
I read quite a bit, man. I read quite a bit, and I read the majority of it again since I did my reviews. Do you want me to pick my first book? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. It's kind of a tough one. I'm going almost random here, brother.
That's how we do it here. It's just like I never know, so it's always great to see.
Let us start. I don't want to be too negative right off the bat. So let's actually start with this is one that surprised me when I read it again. I liked it even more. Did you read Detective Comics 2021 Annual?
I did.
You did? This one written by Tamaki and Rosenberg together, Lapham, Mulville, and Low Ridge. I got this pretty banger variant cover there from Jason Fabak. And this was a very solid story. It's like a big oversized issue, but it's light on the words, which I like.
Someone that it was mainly art.
Right. When you see these big ass books, especially on this week where there was like 6 oversized DC books, yeah. I'm happy to see a little light on the word story. But basically, this was a cool ass story that starts out with a flashback to Martha and Thomas Wayne and kind of this life lesson that young Bruce learns from his dad about treating the patient in front of you. I thought it was really cool. The art was solid. He grows up to then teach Nightwing that same lesson, which I thought was a pretty cool little parallel there. There's some funny jokes in there. The art didn't blow me away, but it's easy on the eyes for sure. And solid issue, man. What do you think of it?
I wasn't a big fan of the artwork. I was more of a fan in how Tamaki kind of brought me back in the way she's writing Gotham. I think there's a certain gentleness you need to have when you're writing the relationship between Batman and Dick Grayson or Batman and Nightwing that I think she hit to a T. It was really similar to kind of like the gentle touch she had with Huntress when she wrote that bit earlier in her run. So that was very intriguing. And I was about to drop this book
I was too.
Following the previous issue with the vial and everything. But I'm giving Shadows of the Bat a chance because Tamaki has written some very exquisite stuff that I'm a big fan of hers. So I like to support it, and I don't want to like completely pump the brakes unless I absolutely have to.
Well, what have you read from her that you do like? Because my only experience is Detective Comics.
Oh, she did a She-Hulk bit, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
She did Wonder Woman. Tamaki did she did something else I like.
Because I was ready to drop it. Like I even said that I'm done with Detective Comics.
She did an indie book that I was really, really fond of, I believe.
Right.
I don't remember exactly what it is. We got a few more people in here. We got Real Rude in here. We got and we got Inja in here. What's going on, Inja? Thank you guys for joining. But I really do like Tamaki as a writer. I think she's solid enough to get the job done. I don't know. I thought Detective took a little bit of a slack, especially having two of the more gritty artists in the game nowadays, Dan Moore and Victor Bogdanovich. This art was definitely more fitting. I don't think I'd want to see Victor Bogdanovich drawing this book at all. So I'm glad that they're kind of saving him and more for their later projects as well. But
right, you're talking this specific issue for sure. Plus, there's this whole like, do you care about Arkham moving? Because that's kind of the big thing. They're setting up that Arkham Asylum. It's blown up, which is another thing I'll just say. Like, I've enjoyed that all of the Gotham-centric books have sprung out of that Infinite Frontier Zero book. Like, I like how closely connected they all are with the attack on Arkham Asylum and all that.
Right.
But the whole idea and everything that they're playing with like how the mentally ill are treated, like the criminally insane are treated, which is, you know, it's kind of been done, but yeah. And she doesn't really like take a stance, at least that I could tell, of like, this is what I want you to think. What up, bro, Joe? She kind of like sets it out there and you're left kind of to make up your own opinions about what you think of the situation, which I appreciate when you're getting into like kind of like real life political stuff. I like when they leave it up to you rather than tell you what to think.
Exactly. Well said. And I think what's also cool is now that we're kind of all jokered out, he's doing his own thing. A lot more villains. Now is their time more than ever to kind of spring out from like the ashes, I would say, for lack of a better word. And we're kind of seeing that with a lot of niche villains. I think with Williamson coming into the book, his Batman's going to talk even more. Titans was a little bit more isolated. It still had its future state stuff, but it didn't exactly talk directly to the other books. Not as much as Tamaki's is, and Williamson's has already teased a crossover with his Robin and his Deathstroke, with Talia al Ghul appearing across multiple titles. So I guess that's why I'm really excited for that, because DC will finally be more connected, and that's something that I think that they've had a big flaw in the past several years of their continuity. Was you just have so many isolated stories, and their big bad event comes, and Darkseid comes, and then everything just gets pushed to the side.
Right. So well, it's also Tamaki's in a tricky position too when it's like Tynion's the main Batman book or Batman is the main book. And then it feels like the side book. And it just makes everything a little bit more confusing when Batman is everywhere doing everything, when this is so clearly in the same continuity. When you're doing the Black Label stuff, then it doesn't feel so messy. So I think it'll be nice from the way I understand it. Let's correct me if I'm wrong, but Williamson's run is taking is taking Bruce Wayne, Batman out of Gotham. He's supposed to be going international, right?
Yeah, for like an arc. It's really supposed to be, I think, just for that solo arc.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because Jimenez is coming back, and I think they're just doing this little bit just to kind of like get away a little bit from how close knit Batman has been to Gotham. Like, he's been such a big part of it. I think that they just want to breathe everything out a little.
Right. Well, there's enough other players.
There's enough other people to give him that, so he can do that. I'm not gonna talk about that book right now. I don't want to. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the Fear State Omega. This is by James Tynion with a ton of artists. You have Riccardo Federici, Christian Giusse, Gilliam March, Ryan Benjamin, Trevor Harrison, colors by Chris Sotomayor in some of the panels there. So Scarecrow's getting transported to Arkham, and we're really seeing Batman. We're seeing Batman take him there himself, and they're having like this weird conversation together. I wasn't that big of a fan of that. What's going on, Fable? And what is going on, John? We got so many amazing people in the chat today. I love it. We got Santana Golden in here. I believe I saw him somewhere. But what was really curious to me was there was a moment in here where Miracle Molly gave up her freedom for the Insanity Collective. So she's going to jail in return for everyone else's freedom, which I thought was like I thought like that was their way of throwing her away for the time being. Like, okay, Tynan's gone and we're just not going to use these characters. Basically what this did is it ended everything and it put certain characters in certain positions so that when Williamson comes, he doesn't have to deal with any of that BS. Because I don't think any writer at this point has a creative voice for any of the characters that Tynan has created. And I think Ghostmaker, for some reason, is just the one that stands out the most at this point, which was really weird. I would not have picked him originally to kind of have that role for him and Clown Hunter to be teaming up now. But what was really weird to me was Miracle Molly easily has the most potential of all of these characters, being how she's the only one that didn't directly stem from Joker. I think that gives her more. You know, she's not afraid to stand up to Batman. She's not afraid to stand up for the common citizens, which kind of fit her character, giving up her freedom, but also it's like she can't really do her job at this point. And everyone in the book right now is thinking that she has her own motive to rebuild the collective.
Right. Well, that would kind of take away like what she learned, like the
Right.
lesson that she learned at the end of Tynion's run, you know. But I agree. I think they kind of just are setting her to the side for now to kind of make
But
it a
what's
little bit
kind of
cleaner.
weird was Amanda Waller went to bat for Simon Saint, and I was like, Amanda Waller hasn't really been attached to. She's been in the DC universe. We've seen her in Swamp Thing. We've seen her in Suicide Squad, which I'm not reading, but I'm sure she's there because she's a very prominent character in that universe.
Right.
But it was weird that she never really interacts with Batman characters. So I found her position here to be a little awkward. I'm like, why now? Kind of. Unless Wise is going to be like the next Rick Flag of that group, which I could kind of see happening. And him building up to that future state should it ever happen that way. But for now, I'm not buying it. I don't know. I felt like this really didn't do Tynan's run any justice wrapping it up. I'm like, if you have these final words to say on Batman. Now, Tynan has written many different Batman stories across his years with DC Comics. He's written Batman Eternal with Scott Snyder. He's written Detective Comics, which is actually my favorite run that he's done. And then he's written this, and he's done a lot of other work with Batman characters. But this felt really weak to me.
Right. I mean, it just felt like, well, we did an alpha, so we better do an omega, and we know people will buy it because it says #1 on it. It's got Batman on the cover. So, I mean, that's the way I feel about it. Like, it's a cash grab, and it's him. Tynion making his last stamp on all of the characters that he introduced. Now, will Williamson follow through with where he placed them? I'm always curious about that. Like, did Williamson have any say in the fact that Clown Hunter and Ghostmaker are now together? Does he want that? Does he care? Will he keep with that? That's interesting. Hey, did you notice this? Do you feel like this is a throwback to Wolverine in the sewers during the Dark Phoenix saga?
I did not pick that up, but now
I
that
think
you mention
he's
it,
in a sewer, he's halfway in the water, he's in the same kind of position and everything. It feels like kind of a nod
oh
to
yeah,
that
I forgot to
John
say
Byrne.
Peacemaker escapes. And
Right.
I couldn't care less about his character. I was kind of like rooting for him to like
I kind
get
of
ride on the electric chair. I was like, I just don't care.
I was kind of interested in him. I thought he was a decent character. Did you read that one shot? This is something me and Robbie were talking about. Like if you didn't read those secret files for all of the different, like Peacemaker got one, Gardner got one, and that's where all of the development happened for those characters. You didn't really get it like sprinkled in throughout Tynion's run. It was just all happening in the one shots, and they do add a crap ton to it. And his was great. Like his backstory was pretty interesting. Did you read that one? The Peacekeeper secret files?
No. The only secret files I picked up was the Miracle Molly one. That was mainly because I was having Danny and Dan Riders on the next day, and Danny did the art for that.
Right,
So,
right.
I was really, and I love her art. I think her art is like has like a creepy feeling to it that I
Oh, it's super
appreciate.
creepy.
That was really funny when I said that to her. I was like, your art's so creepy. And she's like, thanks.
Thank
Like,
you.
like I was like, you're the creepiest artwork. But that's Fear State. It was not. I would say Joker War. If you want to read a tiny mainstream Batman story, I read that. But other than that, if you do want to get a tiny Batman book, I would say his Detective Comics is the holy grail out of all of his Batman books.
That's what I've heard. That's interesting. I'll have to go back and check that out.
Who's your favorite Robin?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, I like the look of classic like Batman and Robin, Dick Grayson.
Right.
But I love Damian, but I don't necessarily like the original Damian when he's introduced. and he's more of a he might turn around and kill somebody kind of a guy.
You
Now
like
that
him?
he's kind of come, he's not as interesting to me, but I'm a fan of Damian for sure.
Okay. Do you like Tim Drake?
I don't, dude. I've barely read. I think Identity Crisis might be the extent of my
Tim
Tim
Drake knowledge.
Drake knowledge. Yeah, for real. I don't think I've read much with him.
Okay, read the Detective Comics. It's all
Really?
surrounded. Oh Brother Comics says Secret Files is great. Love them so far. Miracle Morale's probably my favorite of them all. Yeah, I think that's like the general like consensus. Now that like Punchline took like a back seat to everything, which her character I found was the most off-putting. Like post Joker War, I was like, she don't do anything. Like she can go toe to toe with Harley, but she can't do anything against Bluebird. I was like, that's poor writing. I don't know. That's what and it just made me not be as interested because like I've seen her potential and it's like, okay, now you're giving us this. It's like, you know, you
Well,
give me
as soon as they kind of made her good, I was less interested in her. I didn't love her as an antagonist either, but she looks cool as hell. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, she
right.
does. As soon as they put her in jail, and you can tell, like, oh, now she's the hero in jail. I quit reading those backup stories, and I don't really care. You know what I mean? I
Right.
think
Where we already
they've
have
made
a
her
better
less interesting.
we already have a better book of a hero in jail. It's called Daredevil. But
Right, right.
what else you got this week?
Oh, let's do a Marvel one.
Let's do a Marvel.
Let's talk about Venom #2 by
Venom.
Ram V,
Yes.
Hitch, Curry, and Sinclair. When I talked about this with Nick from Comic Culture, he was on the show with me that came out today, and we mainly just sat there and complained about the art. We didn't really get into the story a whole hell of a lot. So
really, because I like Brian Hitch's artwork. Is it
I mean,
anywhere near his Fantastic Four or his Ultimates? No, but I still think that he has like a niche to him that's unique.
to me, there's just like certain pet peevy things there's a bunch of panels in here where I've been talking about this so much, but where they take and instead of like moving the camera into an interesting position, they just tilt it. And there's like just these panels. It's like a pet peeve of mine. And it comes from like I used to be way into photography, and it's a big like hacky no thing to do as a photographer. So it just bugs me now when I see that in comics, like when you tilt things like that. It's not terrible. The coloring was off to me. It was just too blue, too purple, nothing
Right.
popped in it. But I mean, you're not the only person I've heard say that they like the art, so it's all subjective. That
Right.
doesn't, you know
What's
what I mean?
happening, BJ? I was over on BJ's show last Thursday. Had a great time. We talked about all the annuals that we're going to be talking about today.
Nice.
Make sure you guys go drop BJ a sub and check out comicsaredope.com, his new website that launched. Big shout out to BJ. Much love.
Comics are super dope, dude.
Exactly.
But mainly we're focusing on Dylan Brock in this, which I do like. I don't mind the fact that they've split Eddie and Dylan up. Ram V telling all the Dylan stuff, and he's going to be on the book for the next 3 issues up till after issue number 5 is when Ewing comes back and they go back out in space. But they're basically Dylan's on the run. There's government officials after him, and he's going to hook up with one of his dad's friends. That's pretty much the plot of this one. And we have like Venom detached from him in bulldog form, and then his little sleeper cat with him. But
yeah, the Vox symbiote.
I mean, I'm into it. It just didn't give me a whole hell of a lot in this issue that was super entertaining to me. It was really moody and kind of a bummer issue for me. And it's raining, it's all colored in blue. It was supposed to be that, but it didn't really do a whole hell of a lot for me. It didn't grip me in the way that most of Ram V's writing does grip me, you know.
I actually appreciated this book because Dylan is in a weird position, kind of like being on the road, and I think this like kind of shows his maturity. Once you're alone, like everything changes, right? So I kind of like how he's so uncomfortable, but he's like trying to fake it at the same time. I thought that was really unique to him, you know, and like he's always just thinking right now about his father's like last words, you know, don't bomb the symbiote, right? And he does the exact opposite. Obviously, guys like kid, you're like, F that,
Right.
you know, I'm gonna still do it, but it still lingers in the back of your head, you know.
Right.
I think we're all that way with our parents when they tell us that. Santana Golden says his personal favorite Robin is Jason Todd. Death in the Family storyline is certified gold. Didn't understand why Ra's al Ghul brought him back to life, though. Late on my posting message. That's what's up, man. I'm not the biggest Jason Todd fan, but I know to each their own, and there's really no wrong Robin. It's not like there's Green Lanterns and there's an obvious wrong one with Guy Gardner, but Link.
I think Jason Todd, he's been in a lot of cool books in the past year or so. There's been a lot of good stories. I liked his Chip Zdarsky story from Urban Legends. I don't know
I
if
was
you
gonna
read
get that in trade.
That
That
was
was a
really
good
good. That
story.
was a solid story. It started out better than it ended, but yeah, he's been in a handful of things. I actually really liked him in the past year.
Yeah, I think they are giving him more of a shift and attention, which is great because the one thing we haven't seen in Jason Todd is him getting over being petty with Batman. You know, I
Right.
think putting him with other troubled people actually hindered him as a character more than it helped him.
Hmm.
Simply because all he is at the end of the day is an angry teenager who can't get over the fact that Batman and him never clicked.
Right.
Which, I mean, he did bring a lot of it on himself. He was a kid, I get it. But there's a time and place. There's also like a time to forgive and put yourself past it and grow up. And I don't think Jason Todd has really grown up. So let's segue into a book where we actually see that happening, and that is Nightwing Annual 1. By the way, you guys, there's a lot of DC annuals this week.
Right.
I'm exhausted by it. We're getting a lot of people saying Guy Gardner in the chat's awesome. I mean, he was fun in Just League International.
I haven't read a lot with him in it, but I think it was Morrison's run. Is that him and Morrison's run?
It
I
was
liked him
in
in
his
that.
Justice League or his Green
Yeah,
Lantern.
yeah. I'm sorry, the JLA run.
In JLA, their Green Lantern in that book was Kyle Rayner.
Oh, okay.
The best one. Just pointing that out.
I still get some of them mixed up, dude, for sure.
Couldn't care for any of them except for Dick and Babs. Agreed. 100%, my man. So this is by Tom Taylor, Clay Tormey, and a bunch of other people. Daniel HDR and Raul Fernandez. Cool. All right. So the biggest bulk of this book is basically Jason Todd gets grounded, or not really grounded, but Nightwing has to come in and teach him the same lessons that Batman taught him, very similar to the other annual, but it's like that we talked about earlier. But we see Jason Todd completely blowing up this place. It's not Jason Todd, spoilers. But Nightwing's like, okay, yeah, I gotta go get him. Because Nightwing was always like there to bat for Jason, always really gave him a chance. And if there's something that the Titans TV show does really well, it's giving them that moment where Nightwing just doesn't give up on people. That shows a lot about his character. So he goes out, he finds him. Before that, we flash back to a time where Jason was afraid that, like, okay, he's not able to go in the field, and Nightwing kind of has to teach him the same lessons, because the reason why is because he never lived up to Nightwing standards in the eyes of Batman, right? And he never lived up to Dick Grayson standards as Robin. So Dick obviously like, I'm going to teach you how to be a Robin, right? What does the Robin do? Batman is such a dark character. Robin's kind of like the good cop, right? The one that comes in, the one that's friendly, the one that's there for the victim, the one that talks, the one that communicates, right? So he's really trying to teach Jason how to not go over the top. I really liked how we saw the classic costume in there from the early Teen Titans days in the 80s. I thought that was a great little homage to it. But we really just get to know their friendship and what they called their brotherhood, which I thought was really symbolic. And then he hints at Dick Grayson later teaming up with some other Teen Titans characters, such as Wally West, in the future that we're going to probably see in the main title. So I would really check out. This is my favorite annual that came out, not just because it's my favorite character, but because it was written so well. And I really don't think we've ever gotten a relationship book like this between these two characters. So
I didn't read it. It was not at my shop, unfortunately,
right.
man. I even tried to look to what would you
right.
get a bootleg of this before we got on, and
yeah.
I couldn't.
It turns out the character who was Red Hood was Clayface, so they had to stop Clayface. So I thought that was really cool using Clayface because we haven't seen him in a very long time. I'm thinking probably since Tynan's Detective Comics. So
he was in Catwoman.
He was in Catwoman. See, that's not a book that I've read. So we get to learn about that, and Jason ultimately he learns. So hopefully a writer will pick that up as well and go for it, because not a lot of writers really do that, especially when it comes to these annuals. Like, they're kind of one-shot stories that just dip. So I don't know. I'm hoping. But that's Nightwing, you guys. Nightwing Annual 1. I really liked it. It's by Tom Taylor. He's been killing it lately.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm bummed out because I've been really liking his Nightwing, especially before Fear State. The Fear State tie-ins, they were kind of weak compared to his run before that, but they were still decent.
Right.
I forget, did you say you did read Human Target too?
I sped read it just right before.
That's all that's important, man.
So let's talk about it. I read like half of it at work. I was like really into it, and then we got really busy. I put it down. I'm like, oh wait, I forgot to finish it.
Shit. Right, it's solid, dude. First of all, it's gorgeous, just flat out gorgeous. The cover is amazing. Pretty much the Human Target. For those of you that don't know, because I know I didn't know anything about the guy. Like, had you read any Human Target stuff?
No, but I know he used to be a Vertigo character. So,
oh, was he?
Yeah, he used to be a Vertigo character. From back in Vertigo's earlier days.
He came out in DC in the 70s. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, but a lot of those characters later got adapted into Vertigo, and he was one of them because I guess he has like a lot of darker horror themes. You can do a lot. I was thinking, like, imagine him, the Question, with the Bill Sienkiewicz vibe to it. That would be dope.
Well, that's kind of the thing why I was a little bit disappointed in this book because, well, again, for those that don't know what the Human Target is, he'll dress up as you. If you think you're going to get assassinated or someone's after you, he'll pretend to be you, and then he'll investigate who's after you and go and like try and solve crime as you, pretty much. First issue, minor spoiler alert, he drinks some poison that was intended for Lex Luthor. It was diluted, so he has 12 days to live. So he has 12 days, 12 issues to solve his own murder, which is just that in itself. That's an awesome premise, in my opinion. Super cool. And the thing I was really excited about is like, oh, this is going to be cool. He's going to be like using his skills as the Human Target. And what I'm looking forward to, like the fun part of this run is going to be him like dressing up and us not knowing who the Human Target is at certain times. Like we don't know who he is, and he'd be like, oh God, it was him. And maybe we won't get that. Like, I don't know if you're expecting that or not, but he's got 12 days to live. And in this, he just goes and he hangs out with this smoking hot chick.
Oh my God.
Right? They just hang out on the beach all day, kind of trying to feel each other out. It's Ice, the leader of the Justice League International. And it's well written and the art is gorgeous. But I was like, what are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? You've got 11 days to do this. You're just hanging out with this hot chick.
That's what I would do. Verno. You mean to tell me you had 12 days to live and you would not shoot your shot with someone that looks smack like Angelina Jolie or like fucking like Khaleesi, the mother of dragon? Come on now. Verno.
I suppose. I mean, it depends.
Tell me you wouldn't.
Did he think he actually had a chance, or was he just trying to investigate her?
Do you think you would have a chance with that?
Totally.
No, you would do it anyway.
Totally, man. Are you kidding me? 100%. But no, dude.
Right on.
Are you a fan of Tom King? Do you? Because he's like a divisive guy. I love him. I love his stuff.
I just love how like the thing that writers do really well. Like I would say Philip Kennedy Johnson does it. Hickman does it. Al Ewing does it. Zdarsky, Tom King, is they put different devices. They put like different, I would say, hints, but they disguise it in a way where it's like right in front of you, but you don't realize until it happens. Like, wait, it was like right there in front of my face. And then you feel stupid, right? But I love feeling that kind of stupid because that's good, right?
Right. I just think he's always, not always, like he's always trying to do, he tries to structure his stories in a really clever way. He writes them super non-sequential. He's always starting at the beginning and stuff like that. And there's times that he gets a little too clever. But for the most part, like it tends to work for me. Like you might say that, or I might say like his single issues are better than like his full stories. Like Rorschach had a lot of amazing single issues.
That I didn't read. I'm waiting for that hardcover.
Right. I would pick it up. I would still recommend picking it up. It might disappoint you by the end, but it's 100% one that I know I need to read again to fully appreciate
the scope of it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's that kind of writer.
That's what Watchmen is, bro. That's what Watchmen just is. Yeah, Link saying that is Mr. Miracle. I was just going to allude to that was this book feels so much like Mr. Miracle. If you look at what Mr. Miracle did really well, is if you look at how can you get people into comic books, how can you get people into the big two, Mr. Miracle is a prime example. You have these 9-panel grids, so there's no confusion on how to read it. Very traditional, right? Very tight panels. You know exactly who's speaking, how to read the dialogue, how to go from panel to panel, right? And the artwork is capsulating and it's speaking on a topic that anyone can really relate to. Human Target's the same thing. It's the same format too.
Right.
It's just the artwork isn't Mitch Jarrett. I would say this book, if anything, is going to be the next Mr. Miracle. And I will spec on that. Just in the way that, like, I'm not saying like I could get all the Eisners that Mr. Miracle did, but I'm saying that its message is going to tether the same audience, right? It's going to have that same, like, this should be a must read on a character you would not give a chance to.
Right. Well, I mean, I
Unless
think
someone
that's his
forced you to
strong
open the
suit.
door. Yeah.
That's why I've never read his Batman run, but like my first thought is,
No.
I know, dude, you'd be shocked at the shit that I haven't read. You're like at the beginning, you're like, this dude is so knowledgeable. It's like, bro, I don't know anything about anything. I just know about the books that I just read, pretty
I just
much.
know how to talk nice, and
Right.
thank you. Good job, Verno Station.
But where was I going with that? Oh, my first thought when I hear like about, oh, he was a mess on Batman. Whose idea was it to give him Batman in the first place? It doesn't seem like a good fit.
Well,
Like he's
look
like
at,
from what I've read from him, most of his other stuff.
I'm gonna spin it this way.
Mm-hmm.
The Bat Office, and I would even go as far to say Dan DiDio for Snyder and King really sucked. DiDio was the one that was told to kill Alfred. Same thing, shooting Nightwing. So those are two things that obviously didn't work in his favor. But also that Bat Office has driven out a lot of talent. There's a reason why Tom King has reconstructed his contract and only doing limited series. There's a reason why Scott Snyder is not writing for DC right now. Right. There's a reason why Tynan is going to not be writing for DC anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is because that Bat Office is so incredibly toxic and they're so editorially driven. And when a creator has something that they want to do, it's like they'll spin in a different way. And that's a DiDio thing. So I can't blame Tom King for that. I can't blame him from Heroes in Crisis, even though that's like one of the most horrible books ever written. It was a big editorial move. It was a big DiDio thing, right? And anyone who has an internet can figure that out because Dan DiDio has been very vocal about it since his firing. Even when he was still having a job, he said he wanted to kill Wally West and shoot Dick Grayson in the head and kill Alfred. So I was like, and then cutting Tom King, like he was promised 108 issues and 2 or 3 annuals. He only had 2 annuals.
Well, I can understand it. I mean, it seems like
cut like 24 issues. Like that's a lot of story.
People were hating it. You know what I mean? Like the sales numbers. I mean, I get that. You did that. That's interesting because you hear the random person that says they love it. I'm really curious to see like what I would think because I don't know, just because I like Tom King so much, and I don't really care when they like going into it. I'm going to know that he's going to kill Alfred, so I don't think it's going to shock me and bum me out. I'll just be like, oh, this is the part where he kills Alfred.
Yeah, that everyone else is talking about.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's really intriguing people's different perspectives. You look at a character, I've been saying this a lot recently, more and more, is you've never really gotten a Bruce Wayne focus story, right? And that's what Tom King really did, was speaking on like how the mantle of Batman affects Bruce Wayne as a human, right?
Right.
And getting into
that's what I missed in Batman stories. Like, is the Bruce Wayne? Like, currently, there's no Bruce Wayne in
story.
Yeah,
it's 100% a Bruce Wayne story, and that pissed off a lot of people, especially because Detective Comics at the time, who was writing it? It was Tynan. Then when Tynan left, there was a lot of fluctuation, and then Tomasi came on, and it wasn't any Tomasi's best work whatsoever, but it was still fine. But the hate didn't start till after 50 issues. I would say there was a lot of hate before then too, just because like there are people that are just gonna hate everything. But yeah, I was at the con that so right after issue 50, there was a Awesome Con, right? Oh my gosh, Tom King was cut to shreds. It was.
Is it like something? Is that the issue that he killed Alfred or what?
No, that's the issue where the wedding didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
But that pissed off a lot of people, but it was a Bruce Wayne character study, so I can see why the wedding didn't work. I could find it to be justifiable. Do I agree with it? We'll find out. We'll find that out once I do a reread. But I would say read it if you're a Batman fan. It's harmless, but definitely give it a go. Let's talk about Trial of Magneto. This is by Lucas Wernick as the artist and Leah Williams, who's been on the show. So if you guys want to know more about that series, I would suggest checking out the interview. It was a good conversation. Where did I put this book in the first place? Here it is. That's not it. But anyway, I don't really need to have it. So Wanda, we've been exploring Wanda's new status quo, which is the fact that she's back. So she resurrects herself, which is kind of a Wanda thing to do. She has alternate reality powers, so she can like bend reality to her will. She's a very powerful character. The only really big thing we haven't seen her do is how can she control her own reality of her past and future and present while she's considered dead. So that's what this book is about. is exploring the magic side of her when she's not technically living. So of course she resurrects herself and she gets into a fight in this astral plane with an older version of herself and a younger version of herself, which unleashes demons on Krakoa. So while the X-Men and Avengers are fighting that, Wanda's essentially fighting herself. And this is basically growing her power. So I would even say she's more powerful. And we're finally moving her character past the days of House of M, where she's basically been scarred in the eyes of the mutants. Like no one likes her. So we're changing that. We end up with her saying, "Oh, by the way, you guys, I know who attacked me," which I would say, shouldn't you have said that beforehand?
Right.
Because like Tommy and Wiccan were like trying to like get her out, and I don't like Tommy's haircut at all whatsoever. There's no reason for the guy to have a buzz cut on the side, like just weird, like funky hair. I'm like, come on now, just give him a normal haircut. Like,
didn't she not have her memories?
But like now that she's back,
point?
Now that she's back and resurrected, she has her memories.
But, well, she got resurrected, and then she was around. I think she talked to them before she got sent to a telepath to put her memories back in, because her Cerebro resurrected her with her old school memories.
But wasn't it Wiccan who helped her with that? Because
I don't know. I mean, and honestly, I don't care. Like, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to know what I know about this book. Like,
I was just like, this issue sucked.
I mean, I think
absolutely
the first issue kind of tricked me into being like, okay, like I can get behind this, and I don't know why. Like, I find myself talking about the X books. I'm over this, but I was finding myself continually talking about the X books with kid gloves. Like, oh, they're trying and stuff. And I don't know why I was like treating them that way. They don't deserve that kind of treatment. They're a big deal. They should just be good. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think this has been a train wreck, bro.
Oh my! So the first issue was fine. The second issue was trash. The third issue I enjoyed because I hated it. I liked how we were doing like the whole new status quo for Wanda. But this ain't no trial of Magneto. Calling this trial of Magneto is a complete disservice because first off, there's barely any Magneto. There's barely any trials. I've seen more trials with Deshaun Watson, who hasn't even gone to court yet. So I'm just waiting for any football fans out there.
I was gonna say, I don't know who that is, but I get what you're saying. I can guess the context.
Oh, he's supposed to like. Deshaun Watson has like so many charges out on him right now, but
we talk about a rough editorial or bat office. Like, I think editorial in the X office is
so
terrible.
Dramatic.
It's so bad. And what you mentioned about it being trial of Magneto, like instantly they know that's going to annoy people. This is another X
but they don't care. It's just you like the story more, so you made it a big deal. But here's the thing: if you want to treat this like an event, do it. If you want this to be an event, this very well could be an event. I could totally see this being a mini event while Hickman is gone, right? But there's a time and place. I don't think this is the time for this story to take place. Maybe after your big event called Inferno. There's room to tell this while the dust settles. Cool, we're going to take other characters and we're going to elevate them. That's where this story goes. That's where you pull this little mini event. Not because no one's giving a flip about this story while Inferno's going on. I'm going to tell you right now.
Well,
nobody's talking about this. That's going on.
It shows the disconnect between Hickman and the X office, in my opinion. That's just me from the outside, just guessing. But it feels like Hickman lost faith in the X office a long time ago. And he was like, whatever, dude. I'm going to go do this. You guys do whatever the hell you're going to do. But I don't know. And it's like Hickman didn't want to. It's probably because he wanted to leave and he wanted to do it quickly. And he's like, it would have been too hard to incorporate all of the other X stories in with his Inferno event. Like for him to just wrap stuff up. And the other thing I will say, like in everybody's defense on the X books, this is the position that Hickman kind of put them in. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but the reason why in this we're fighting all these kaiju, and over in Jerry Duggan's X-Men, we're fighting kaiju and we're fighting aliens and we're fighting all that is because you can't fight mutants anymore. And that's what makes the X-Men so cool is that their their villains have this thing in common with them. They're all part of the same oppressed group. You can understand why Magneto was pissed. You know what I mean? Like the former villains were all mutants, and it made it more interesting to tell stories about. Now we can't really do that, and it's hindered everybody pretty much besides Hickman. You know what I mean? Hickman could handle writing stories without that, but a lot of the other writers have struggled, I think.
That's a good point that you're bringing up. I will say I agree to that to an extent, but
Agree to it all the way, bro. All the way.
Agree to it all the way. Damn, bro. What's going on, Eric? I see you in here. Just sometimes my streamer just doesn't let me highlight comments like that. It's been acting up lately. What's going on, Eric? There you are.
What up, Stash?
A big stash, yeah.
Stash on.
I would love to see Eric come on Christ on Infinite Rants one of these days. Eric, you're always welcome. Yeah, so try the Magneto event a train wreck. Art looks fine. I think this would be a much more contained story if it just who's to say this can't come out in 3 months, right? Come on.
Right. Now. I mean, it would have sucked in 3 months too, though.
I don't know. It would have sucked less.
Well, here's the thing. They don't care what we think. They only care, honestly, they only care what people are saying on Twitter. Like, that's what's wrong with the X Office. Because everybody that I hear is saying this is terrible. Well, guess who got a new event? The same creative team. Like, Leah Williams is doing this Destiny of X or whatever the hell it's going to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying she's a bad writer, but she's saying
a great writer.
Yeah.
I'm really fond of her writing. I mean, she was on the show. I don't reach out to people I'm not a fan of.
Right. No, I get that. I mean,
actually, I don't reach out to me. So
I have zero interest in her books coming up. I'll just say that. Like, as soon as I heard, oh, she's writing this, like, well, I don't care.
Is there a good jumping on point? I would definitely say House and Powers of X, get the trade paperback that should be at GLCS, or they can order it. It's in print. Or I would go back, see if you can find books like Astonishing X-Men is a great book to read by Josh Whedon and John Cassidy. It's before Josh Whedon was a douchebag. I get it.
I mean, sure he was. We just didn't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't have more.
I would say
space that we had, but
if you like old comic books, like that's the big question. Like, if you can get into Bronze Age, go back to Giant Size and just start reading the Claremont stuff.
Not 94, and then. You're not Giant Size, then 94, and then go.
Right. I mean, but if you don't like that, which I can understand, then I think Morrison would be a great option.
I'm reading that right now in floppies. I picked up that whole run recently, or a few months ago. I picked it up for like $45, the whole run.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Fantastic. I mean, but it's a weird place to kind of jump on. I mean, it's a good place and a weird place because if you got to be prepared to know that it's not the X-Men. It's not the 90s X-Men. No. But I mean, how we're on your show, this dude's probably 13 years old. So he'd probably be happy with that. What?
I'm 20.
Well, I'm saying your audience is probably 13.
My audience is not 13.
I'm just kidding.
But new X-Men good place. Everyone has incorporated something in Morrison put in. Yeah, I would agree. I'd agree to that. From what I've read so far. What else would I would say is a good jumping on point for X-Men? But you got to be prepared to see a vast amount of characters. The only way to deal with that is just to jump in and just get to know them as you
can read Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender. Is just a solid story on its
I was kind of like eyeing my trades too. I was like, where can this guy start? And I was like,
no matter where you start, you're going to be confused. It's X-Men, unless you started Giant Size X-Men back in the 70s. Other than that, you just got to like kind of just know that you're going to lose. You're not going to follow everything perfectly. You're going to have to Google who the hell a character is from time to time.
Right.
But for the most part, there's a lot of good ones.
Let's talk about Fantastic Four number 38. This is by Dan Slott, art by Francesco Manna, who I'm not as familiar with. So this is kind of kicking off a little mini arc before we get this big reckoning war that apparently he started in his She-Hulk. And guess who makes a return in this issue? She-Hulk. So the Wizard's kid is in the custody of Dragon Man, who's with the Fantastic Four. So Wizard comes in and sues them, so they hire a lawyer. Who do they hire? Jen Walters. So they appear in front of this judge. Not really much happens. The judge has these powers, and she can kind of like keep everyone contained. The Wizard appears in pro se, which he's representing himself, law major, but not much happens in this book. Get to know Dragon Man. The lawyer says, yo, none of you guys are fit to be parents, even with your own kids, god damn it. Which I think that was like the highlight of the book, because it was like someone's finally standing up to Fantastic Four and their shenanigans. But it was a solid issue. It was kind of a lull because this book has been so busy. I think Dan Slott writes a really good wizard. And it was good to see She-Hulk back in her regular form and not her like ultra animated, big Buffy, Shaquille O'Neal ×2 form that she was in the Aaron run in. Shaquille O'Neal's a basketball player, Verno.
I know. I was there.
Okay, cool.
I got his rookie card, son.
Yeah, that's a good rookie card to have.
Yeah, I got a few of them.
I remember this one card I had of Yao Ming and T Mac. It's like Yao Ming's up here, and you just get T Mac's shoulders. And it's like that's the it was the funniest card.
How's the art in that book? Because I know RB Silva's. I picked it up, but I never did get a chance to read it. Is it pretty solid? Who's on the art?
Francisco Manna did this issue, but RB Silva will be coming back
for the event.
Yeah,
right.
So
dude, I like Fantastic Four is one of those that like I could easily drop it just because I'm reading like 20 books a week, but I've liked it for maybe 10, 12 issues now. So I've never dropped it, but it's never been great, but it's never been bad enough for me to drop. But I think I've picked up the last couple and not even included it in my weekly reviews because it seems to be like not many people are reading Fantastic Four.
Right.
So what's it matter?
Here's the thing about Fantastic Four. It's as much as I want to talk about it, at 38 issues, I'm not going to convince you to read it. The only time I'll convince you to read it is Reckoning War, and that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up today. I usually don't talk about Fantastic Four, but if you want to get into Reckoning War, I would say definitely check this out. Start at this issue because Wizard is obviously going to play a role in it. We see Diablo, he's a big legacy character for Fantastic Four, so it's great seeing them. I'm always a big fan of when they do give a lot of tribute to the Silver Age. We saw tribute to the Bronze Age in or late Bronze Age when She-Hulk joins the team. So I was like, that was kind of cool.
So this does feel like it's leading into Reckoning War?
It feels like it's bringing the characters together.
Okay.
Very slowly, not the event. Like they're not going to start building the event to issue 40, but this is like, you're just getting the groundwork. So if you want to get into Reckoning War, just start at this issue because this is the only issue where you don't need to know anything that happened before. And all of this other stuff, you had to know that Johnny's dating this new girl, right? And Johnny cheated on Dr. Doom's fiance or before he was going to be freaking married.
Right.
And that ruined it. You just had a lot of work in
Which was fun.
What's going on, Lord Chucks?
All this stuff has been fun. You know what I mean? It's one of those that I'm not, it feels a lot like Superman. It's on that same level where I've been enjoying it, but I'm not going to recommend you go out and pick it up. You know what I mean?
I'll recommend you go pick up Superman Action Comics. I'd recommend that in a heartbeat.
I mean, I would recommend it here's the way I look at it. If you're a big Superman fan, you're already reading it. If you're not, I'm not going to say this is going to make you fall in love with Superman comics. You know what I mean? Like it's been solid. I've enjoyed the whole thing. Like since Philip Kennedy Johnson.
It was like Immortal Hulk, right? It's like everyone was talking about it, and then it's like, okay, now we're at the point where I'm not going to tell you to go read it because if you're loving it. Like if you're still reading Fantastic Four up until this point, you're digging it. I'm not going to convince you otherwise. You're just going to sit there and nod your head. If you don't like it, you don't give a shit.
Or you're just the type that's picking it up anyway. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are just, I'm a Fantastic Four fan. I'm going to pick every one up, even if I'm not liking it.
Right.
But I have been liking it. But neither of them, like I said, neither of those titles that I mentioned have blown me away. But they've been solid reads for sure.
I think the Doom Wedding blew me away. I would say that just blew me away because I was like, Dan Slott knows how to write some of these characters really well. But other than that, it's like this book has been good. I'm just waiting for Dan Slott to like pull that big flex that he usually ends up doing. Because that's what he does.
The book's best with Silva, with RB Silva on the art too.
Oh, yeah. What else you read this week, Verno?
I read Doom. Let's talk one that I wasn't even planning on talking about, but I didn't get a chance to do it with Nick this week. Did you read Wonder Girl issue number 5?
This book surprised me.
I really like it, dude. The first thing I'll say, I mentioned this in my reviews, but Joelle Jones as an artist is like unbelievable, like top notch, top of the line, gorgeous, super unique style, super classy. But she's also writing the book, and I think we're on issue number 5. I think since the second issue, she's been sharing the workload art wise with this artist, Mello. And when I'll just say, I think this book is all Mello and it's all good. Like the art looks great to me. But this is what I said.
It has a very Joelle Jones style.
Right. It's similar to it. But when they're on the page next to each other and here's Joelle Jones and here's Mello.
It's like, okay.
Sorry, Mello, your work looks terrible. You know what I mean? Like, that's the truth. But I like the fact that she's got her whole issue here. I can assume, I hope that we get all Joelle Jones in the future. And I would prefer that rather than them kind of sharing the load. It's less jarring. It's less annoying. And it doesn't stand out as being
this trade is going to read. I'm going to say this right now. This trade's going to read horribly.
You think so?
Yeah, because of the art shifts.
Yeah, no, I could see that. But as long as I think this is the better way to do it. Do it issue by issue. Give Jones her whole issue. Don't split issues. Like they've gotten away with it. Excuse me. By Jones was just drawing the stuff with Yara Flor. Mello was drawing the stuff with the other girls, which has been a
Right.
confusing part to me, which I'm kind of just now catching up on what the other Wonder Girl and
Yeah.
what's her face. You know what I mean? Because
Um,
Artemis, I'm less
Artemis
familiar.
and Cassie.
Right. But overall, the story is cool. It's taken me a little bit to kind of catch up on some of the mythology surrounding these warrior women that I wasn't familiar with. But I love the character Yara Flor. She's got a Kate Bishop vibe
Oh yeah,
going
yeah,
on.
yeah.
You know
I
what I
dig
mean?
it. I dig
She's
it.
great. She's great. I like the story, so I loved this issue. I thought it was really solid.
I really did too. I kind of liked how there's this whole like secret society. They're like, yeah, we're raging war. And then spoiler, we do spoilers on weekly wrap up, but Yara ends up meeting up with Donna Troy, which I was like, boom! I was like, let's go, because Donna has been pissed at the Themyscira for a very long time, and that's never really been retconned. And I've never really followed Wonder Woman up until like this point because I'm excited for Wonder Woman. I actually am, because you always ask yourself, well, what can DC do to elevate their characters? Shit like this, right?
Hmm.
So if you want them to do it with other characters now, support what they're doing with Wonder Woman, especially because you're seeing more characters being elevated: Artemis, Donna Troy, Cassie, now even Yara Flor, even Diana. You're seeing a lot more character shifts in her character, and they're probably, in my opinion, more popular than they've ever been. Probably not since Perez was on the book.
See,
But
originally that's what was throwing me off about the Wonder Girl title, is that I didn't know who Artemis was and Cassie. It was just getting confused a lot
yeah.
early going. But I love the decisions that she has to make in this book. Basically, Hera wants her as like her tool, more or less, and she's gonna get her to drink this serum. Oh, you're shaking your head. Like, did I
No,
have
I'm
that
shaking my
wrong?
head at the
Okay,
chat. They're
okay.
just like they're just
I'm like,
like
am I screwing it up?
bullshitting.
But
I'm just like, y'all just stuck in the chat. Not stuck,
basically,
but like they're just being funny.
she can have immortal life, but she'll end up being the slave to Hera. So I
Right.
just dig the whole, like, it starts with her making that decision, and if we're spoiling it, she makes the decision to be her own person or whatever. But it's solid, man. I'm
Oh yeah.
way into it. It's one that I was a little lukewarm on around issue 3, but I'm definitely glad I stuck with it, and I'll continue to roll with it. I think it's
Oh
one
yeah.
of the better DC titles right now, I think.
I would say it's really solid. I would just like, you read it and you're just like, just nod your head, just sit back and relax on this title, because you know what you're getting out of it. And I think it's gonna be one of those books like Fantastic Four, where like more like people are speaking on it because it started off solid. So it's
Mm-hmm.
getting more of that fan base. Not only is Yara like an attractive character to look at, she's an attractive personality,
Right.
which is really what you want. And she got more balls than most people in the DC universe have in general. So she's not afraid to really stand up, and I think that takes a really strong character. And I'm excited to see that boldness and that courage being shown. And it's really easy to gravitate and get attached to this character. So I'm really excited about that. Let's talk about Action Comics. 1037 by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Manuel Mendoza, who we know from Justice League Last Ride, phenomenal work. We are in War World. This is a kind of a, not a weird issue, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting Philip to spend more time world building and introducing us to World, but we saw that in Future State. So Philip just went full throttle, and this is a big action book between Mongo and a lot of people from the Authority. Tears him to shreds, and he kills the Authority Superman that crossed over. So Clark is still alive, but the other one is still there.
Is that what's going on?
JT, what Bang am I drinking? I'm drinking the strawberry one. It's funny. I used to be an ambassador for Bang back when I was like somewhat TikTok famous, but that's not a thing anymore.
Hold on. Okay, there's 2 Supermen in this book, because I've been confused about what the hell's going on. We had the Superman and the Authority, which was
And then they crossed
clearly
over.
okay.
Older Superman. If you look at the one that got stabbed, it was older.
Yeah, but that's because I think it was revealed that this whole time leading up to this, what's his face? Oh
Mongo?
god, no, the British dude that's got the telekinesis powers and he can make you see stuff.
I forget his name.
Yeah, I forget his name. Either way, British dude was basically making everybody see a young, healthy, full strength Superman. And then it was revealed in the last issue that this is actually a weakened Superman, and he's because of the solar radiation that he faced a while ago.
Right.
That I think it's just the one dude, but it's confusing, especially because Superman and the Authority was clearly written in a different continuity in a different universe, like clearly 100%.
Right.
And then they just like, nope, they're all together and it's all in this universe. It's like, okay.
Well, because they crossed over to go to World for Superman Prime.
Okay. See, I missed somewhere along the line. I missed.
Did you read the one
sure.
shot that came out last week?
Yes.
It was
the Superman and the Authority one shot with
with
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Which that book was a little trippy. I can see why some people got confused on it. But anyway, this manga is great, and I think I'm really attached just because of how awesome this manga is now, like fearless he is, and just how badass he is. I would highly recommend pick up Philip Kennedy's Action Comics. I know Bryce and I have been very high in this channel because Philip is a really good friend of ours. He's also a really talented writer as well. And this book is going on my all-time Superman list. It's been
really, god damn. I think it got a lot better.
International man of banging. What happens in Mexico stays in Mexico, and I'm leaving it at that.
I think the series got a lot better when it went down to the one title. When he was doing Superman and Action, I think it wasn't as. I think Action got better after that for sure. And Action was solid before that, but I don't think the Superman was as strong as Action.
Right. But speaking of book that's not as strong, let's talk about Justice League Incarnate. I get all my like fun segues. I get that from Robbie a lot, so he's really good at that. So I'm trying to do better at this. So this is by Josh Williamson, Dennis Culver, Brandon Peterson, Andre Bresson, Tom Durnick, and if you haven't heard of most of them, neither have I. But so we're going across the different multiverses. There's this box that Darkseid's after. Also, this guy named Tartarus is after, but Tartarus is stronger now because he has the power of all the lantern rings in an infinity gauntlet. So you have Thanos versus Darkseid, essentially. Cool. I don't care. But Joshua Williamson introduces a lot of these characters that we saw Grant Morrison do a while back, and I did not know about them unless I didn't remember this one issue that I won in a mystery box 3 times, and just that issue, just the characters like in a full like fighting pose like that. I was like, that's the only reason why I know. I haven't read it just because it was like in issue 5. But anyway, I digress. A couple different Earths have to come together. Characters that we were not really familiar with. We get a new Flash to join the Justice League Incarnate, and we go to this other world. We go to Earth 8, and we see these 2 characters meet, and the Justice League's goal is to keep the box away from both of them so they don't destroy the timeline or the multiverse. So while these 2 people are fighting, the Justice League's playing, or the Justice League is playing keep away. So that's it.
I read this.
Don't care for it.
I read this. I got about halfway. Well, here, I'll put it like this. When I read Infinite Frontier, the miniseries that preceded this one and leads into this one, like I don't have like the greatest DC knowledge. Like I get most of it from the cartoons, to be honest with you, and the books that I've read in the past few years. But I was just barely clinging on to knowing who the hell the people were and what was going on all throughout Infinite Frontier. But I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I think it was written well. So I was like, whatever, I'll pick up the first issue of this. And he kind of like kept throwing more new characters at me. And I was like halfway through it, I'm like, I just don't care. There's no way I'm reading more of this. There's people that are going to love it. And I get that too. If you're a DC diehard, it's totally up your alley. But for me, I was like, no, I'm totally over it for sure.
I could see this being up my alley and I think the thing about Infinite Frontier, that book, is you brought in a lot of newer characters. So as you're getting attached to them, you keep bringing in more characters. That the chances of you like getting attached to them and then you have to kill them. It's like from a writer's standpoint, it's like, I'm going to bring in so many characters to kill half of them. But then who cares? Because I didn't do anything with it. They're just people to kill. That's really what this issue is. And they just brought them to get beat up. And that's really, really, really what I kind of despise about this book is you just like characters were in there for no purpose other than just get the shit kicked out of them. And we've seen Darkseid kick the shit out of many other characters with a higher standard.
Right.
So it's like, this is no, sorry, I don't care. So and I've said this before, I'm very high on Josh Williamson as a character writer, but as an event builder and as a world builder, I feel like he's not as great. He's not as great at giving attention to different characters, right? Let's use this Flash, for example. You have a bunch of different characters, but they're all surrounding Barry and elevating Barry. Look at Robin. You feature a lot of different characters, but you don't need to give them the same attention. You just need them to be there to uplift Damian, and he does a great job at that. This book, no, because you need to give all these characters equal attention almost.
Right. It's
and
like
he just doesn't.
Yeah, he's this is him like unrestrained and just like the wild side of him. I didn't read his Flash run, which I know I've heard a lot of good things about.
Oh, it's the best. And I'm not a Barry Allen fan.
Well, I mean, I don't have like the same appreciation of Williamson. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think I need to read that to fully understand like why DC is giving him so much work and giving him the Batman title. Yeah. I mean, don't get wrong.
If you think about who they lost, right? So the way that DC's always kind of been, they've always like interchanged roles, right? Like if Jeff Johns writing Batman, right? Next her write Justice League, swap, right? Kind of like the Al Ewing and Donny Cates thing is they'll just like shuffle their talent. Well, what happens when Jeff Johns is no longer writing? Scott Snyder don't want to write for you. You're not paying him. And plus you completely destroyed his passion project. What are you going to do when you screwed over Tom King? You think he's going to want to write another flagship title for you? No. So who else are you going to give it to? Tomasi left. Josh Williamson is the next best. You're not giving it to Robert Venditti, who's a veteran in that, but you're not giving it to him.
Right.
Priest ain't doing it. Priest too old to do it. Sorry, I love you, Priest, but he ain't doing it. Grant Morrison don't like comics anymore like that. I guarantee you, Grant Morrison, they're checked out. Philip Kennedy, love him to death, doing a great job on Superman. Maybe we'll see him write Justice League one day.
Right.
I don't see that right now.
So right. He's the young.
Right. Yeah. And DC has always had an anchor driving their continuity. You're the villain, Scott Snyder, right? Rebirth, no one, which is why Rebirth was a dud in a sense. New 52, Jeff Johns. Before that, it was Brad Meltzer. So and before that, it was Dwayne McDuffie. So it's like you always had that anchor, almost like your Hickman in a sense. But Josh Williamson is not that writer.
Right. I mean,
Flash is amazing.
I like the way you're putting it because that you look around. If you would have asked me like who's got the better talent right now, DC or Marvel, I would have probably just said DC offhandedly. But it seems like maybe that was like 8 months,
like in the
8
hype.
months
That's
ago.
Like in the hype within like because they have all these new titles, right? And people coming off new title, of course they're gonna have some fresh stories. The thing about Rebirth is they had like 20 new titles. You saw like a Blue Beetle series. You saw like you saw a Suicide Squad series. You saw a Cyborg series, right? No one remembers any of it because they all got canceled just because they didn't divert their attention to it. And they didn't, I would say what Marvel does best is you see all the characters, so you're attached to them, right? You see them crossing over in each other's books, right? You see Iron Man and Captain Marvel talking. You see Captain Marvel and Immortal Hulk talking, right? You see all these kind of characters being everywhere. So give it to my man Joe Corallo. Nice.
DC likes to do that, but they like to DC will throw more like D-listers at you. Like it seems like every book I read
won't make their characters matter. It's like if you get a Blue Beetle book, it's like unless you're like a Blue Beetle fan, you're not gonna read it because it doesn't matter anything else.
Right.
You're not gonna see Blue Beetle cross over in any other title than where he needs to
right.
be.
Right. So I mean, there's part of me that doesn't like I don't really care about that. I'd rather just see like, okay, write a Blue Beetle book that's a solid Blue Beetle book. It doesn't have to matter. That's kind of why I like what DC's doing with their Black Label. And like all these Tom King books are some of their best books because they don't matter. He doesn't have the weight of continuity on him and having to really he could write Strange Adventures and kind of do a little character assassination on Adam Strange, and it doesn't matter. It just served that story. So it fits. Right. It works. Now it pissed people off that like Dr. or Adam Strange, but those three people
here's that book. I just found it. Nice.
Yeah, no. I like what they're doing with that. Things don't need to tie together per se.
I wouldn't say they need to tie together, but it's cool to see them like appear. It's not like a glaring tie-in, but it's like it's cool like just to see that little nod, And DC doesn't do that, and I would say like that hurts a lot of the creative process because then writers aren't talking to each other, right? And that kind of hinders the universe as a whole, especially because then you'll see these characters when Darkseid comes. I'm like.
Right. I don't know, man. Like this is one of the things, like I said, I've only been reading new comics for about 2 years. Like when House of X Powers of 10 was like midway through is when I jumped on to new books. And I didn't even get into a lot more books until like 6 months later. But that's been one of the disappointing things is the way, like I'll use Donny Cates. Like it drove me nuts when Donny Cates is writing Thor. He's writing King in Black. Thor over at his title is trapped under the world tree, and then he shows up whooping ass in King in Black. It's like, bro, you're writing both these titles. How did you not make that work together? That's super frustrating. You know what I mean?
He wanted a flex Thor.
Yeah, but that's like, why not show him escape from his where he was trapped over in Thor? Why not tie those two things together? Like, it's such a missed opportunity. It's editorial, and that right there, that was just Donny Cates. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Well, yeah, it's like he's playing with all of his own tools, and he didn't like make it work together. That to me, it showed me, because I was still getting used to how business was done. It's like, oh, they don't really care. Just like Doctor Strange, he's dead, but he's showing up and everything. It's like, it's annoying.
It was weird. Mm-hmm. It was that was definitely weird, but I think we kind of like made our point really about like DC. I mean, they just need to talk to each other more. They need to not make some of their smaller titles feel so independent. Like Nightwing is a great story, but it feels so independent, right? To where like once all this continuity stuff, Nightwing won't even matter. And I'm sorry to say that because that's like my favorite book. That's just DC for you right there, and the way that they've done their events. You know, it's harder for them to like tie a book like Nightwing into their bigger events. I would say Marvel is much better at that. And I would say Marvel even has the better talent, you know, at first. Like, I would agree, like, starting Infinite Frontier, DC has a lot of talent. But, I mean, and I said this when Infinite Frontier dropped, look at DC months from now, and now you're seeing a lot of flaws in this system. And everyone thought I was crazy. Everyone said DC was going to be great. And I was like, okay. Like, I want to repost that video just to, like, tell anyone, like, look, I told you so.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be, I'm not a Marvel defender either. Like, I don't want to be overly negative, but I think there's a lot of mediocre stuff coming out of both of them. I don't think either of them are doing a swell job in 2021. You know what I mean? I think it's been a down year for Marvel and DC.
I would say more so DC.
I don't know.
What else did you read?
I'm not reading that many Marvel books anymore. I think it's been rough. But what else am I reading? Okay,
I got a bunch. I still got a nice friendly stack right here.
I do not. I've got let's talk about the Joker 2021 Annual.
I'm glad you took that one.
Banger cover. I absolutely love that cover. And this is a cool book. This is the second flashback story that we've got with Francisco Francavilla art in the Joker's run, in Tynion's Joker run. And this goes back to what I think is a really cool time in Gotham City, where the Batman had just taken down the crime bosses, but the supervillains have yet to come on the scene. So it's like, who are the villains in this story? And it's the police department. So it's told from the perspective of Gordon, and we've got all these shady cops. And it's a story that has definitely been told before about Gordon going in and cleaning up the police department. But it was well written. It was cool. And Francisco Francavilla art, definitely solid. Good stuff. I liked it a lot. What'd you think?
I'm not as high in this book just because I've seen all of this before, and it's like, even in the annual, it's not a Joker book at all. But
right. Well, I'm over that. We've been doing it for a year now.
I know, but it's like, I don't care at this point to give it any more of my money. But I was like, I just don't. I didn't.
I'm with you, dude. I liked the last issue before this. It was okay. And it's been rough. It started out hot, right? The Joker book. I thought it was killer, but you are right. It's a Gordon book, but would a Gordon book sell as well as a Joker book? No. So I get it. It's annoying, but it's the same thing as Trial of Magneto, but that's more annoying because that's at least this has been decent.
That's guard. That's so bad. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. I got a nice healthy. Did you read Batman Annual?
No, I didn't.
Okay, fine. Batman Annual, nothing to drive home. It's a kaiju story about Ghostmaker. Art's crap, story's crap.
Art's crap, dude, right?
I was like, that sucked.
That turned me on. I would have read those backup stories and this if it wasn't for the art.
Garbage. I was like, there's no need for Ghostmaker, who has a dope design, to switch into like a kaiju kind of like Dragon Ball Z feel. I was like,
it's a manga. It's a manga. Don't get me wrong. Like, I get like test it out, try it out, but it doesn't fit that character.
It does not at all. That character's like, I don't know. It
looks like a child. Like, it looks like a kid in the book.
Do Gotham City Police wear body cams? I would. I would say, considering how Batman could basically hack into it, I would say no. But I got a few more. Let's talk about a Williamson book that I actually really like, the Robin Annual. by Williamson. Roger Cruz did the artwork on it. We're getting a lot of backstories to all of these other characters. This takes place before issue 6. So, Brother Rudy, what's going on, Brother Rudy? How are you doing today? It's actually really cool because Team Nerdherd did a giveaway yesterday on their show that I was on. Go check out the replay. And I won, but I told him respin the wheel, and Rudy won it. So congratulations, Rudy. I'm glad that book's in your gonna be in your PC soon. It's a signed book by David Brewer of Killer Queens.
Nice.
So Rudy, enjoy that, or definitely, I'm sure you were there, but yeah, we're learning about all these different characters. We're learning about Flatline, and it's really cool how Damian kind of just like uses like his the gift that Nightwing gave him, and it's like it has access to the Bat files. So he like uses detective work to kind of figure out everything and get all these backstories for these characters. So if you want to know more about the characters featuring in this book, read the annual. I'm not going to spoil it simply because if you are reading the Robin series, I think this is worth checking out and learning about those characters for yourselves. I kind of feel like this is an indie book, or like just it is what an annual should be, right? It's like you don't necessarily need to know this information, but if you're invested in the book, check out this story.
Right.
That's just enough said. Moving forward, Marauders. Number 26 by Jared Dugan, Matteo Lolli. I don't like Matteo Lolli's art, but I love this story. I'm still doing Marauders. I think it was slow, but it got stronger. So we revived we revived Leland. Okay. Leland's back. Leland's on Krakoa, and Leland is the ambassador now. Because his son is part of the Kala and Akaba, the people in Madripoor that are trying to take them over.
Coven Akaba?
Yeah, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, or Akaba.
Akaba. I call them Akaba just because it feels more Madripoorian to say it like that. I don't even know if that's a fucking word, but it sounds Madripoorian. It is
now.
It is now. So I thought that was really cool. This is basically a Hellfire Club story. So it focuses around like Sebastian Shaw, Leland, and Emma Frost. So these are characters that I like and we don't get enough of sometimes in like their own little inner circle. So they're mending their relationships moving forward, and they're using Leland as this purpose, especially because and then they catch him up to speed. Oh, this is what happened. Great. Who cares? But I thought the character moments in this book was great. I thought every character was written to par. The other side of the story was you had Kate, Pride, Iceman, Callisto, and you had Lockheed and Pyro. They're on the ship, and Fing Fang Foom shows up, and I was like, gotta be fucking kidding me, Fing Fang Foom. But it was kind of funny because Iceman grows, he jumps in the ocean, he grows like giant Ant-Man in Ant-Man 2. And I was like,
who does?
Iceman.
Iceman did?
I was like, that's dope. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, that's dope. That's freaking awesome. So I loved that because Fing Fang Foom, he just completely knocked him the F out, and Fing Fang Foom just starts flying away. I hate saying that name so many times.
Fing Fang Foom.
I hate it.
It's so ridiculous. Let me ask you something, because you've been following. I followed that series so closely for so long, but I didn't like it for a long time, and then I finally dropped it. Did they ever? Because you brought up Shaw, and there's only one issue left of Marauders, correct? Yeah. I think it ends at 27. Well, and then they're rebooting it with Steve Orlando is going to write it. He's going to write an annual, then he's going to take over the title.
Yeah, and a new creative team.
Right. Did they ever? Team in the book. There was a point, maybe 10 issues ago, where Emma Frost did something to Shaw, and it left him. He was in a wheelchair, and he's in a half catatonic state.
Yeah, because he killed Kate. He killed Kate, and that was his punishment.
Yeah, but did they ever do anything with that? I've been waiting this whole time. It was like Emma Frost was controlling him. Do you know? Did they ever do anything? He basically had to do everything.
He basically had it. So what's really cool about their relationship is Shaw's kind of always been the one to answer to. Sometimes Emma's kind of had to knuckle under. There's the opposite. It was the roles was reversed, and Shaw had to it killed him. It killed him to do that.
I didn't know if they were planting some seed that something was going to pop up later. I don't know. That's the one thing in that run that I was kind of curious about.
Jimmy S says, any news on Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil hardcover book 2? I've been waiting for a long-ass time. I live in the Netherlands. Collect edition's easier to get. I believe that was solicited to come out. So a lot of the collected editions get delayed more now than ever just because of the paper shortages across the world. Thank you, COVID. No disrespect to COVID, but also F you, COVID, just for that, simply, solely, and I need my trades. But, yeah, it was originally supposed to be solicited for the winter. Now they got pushed back. So I would say around January, February it would come out.
Right. Hickman's Omnibus was supposed to come out like this week, but now it's not coming out till like
Ultimate Spider-Man supposed to come out last month.
Right.
So I was
it is what it is.
Right.
By
the way, Ultimate Spider-Man is one of the best stories of all time. Just point that out there. Speaking of Spider-Man, issue 80. Haha. Cody Ziegler and see, I'm getting good at this. Michael Dowling did the art. I was really high in the last issue. This book was really trippy because now like, so he was infected, right? And Kraven's hunting him. So now he's like trapped in his own thoughts and fighting with this demon that's Kraven, but he sees him as like a ghost rider with wings. It's dope. It's like a mixer. It's like a mix of Kraven, Kazar, which are similar. So I would say Kazar and Ghost Rider. It's dope.
Some wild art.
I know the art's like so psychedelic and trippy. I love it. Now I don't like his facial expressions, but I love his layouts. It's weird. He does a lot of Steranko stuff where it's like, I hate the way you draw faces, but I love the way you do 2-page spreads. Like, you can't get better than that. And this is really cool. If you guys missed the interview I did with J.M. DeMatteis, that was awesome. We talked about Ben Reilly. This, again, just explores the psyche of Ben and how, I would say, broken he is, but also very well put together-ish. But yeah, this book was really great, and we're getting to know more about the Beyond Corporation and kind of the funny shit they're pulling behind the scenes, which... it's fun. And this lady who's in charge with the pink hair, why I don't think I've ever seen a professional businesswoman have pink hair, by the way. Even Pink, who's a singer, her name is Pink, but she has blonde hair. But I digress. Ben Reilly goes back to his wife, and they get going, but the leader of this cult, basically, there's a Spider-Man in town. So we're bringing back Spider-Man 2099. It looks like from the costume design that he will be showing up or some version of him shows up in here. So like, they're going to only be our Spider-Man that's licensed. So we're going to be dealing with that. I really like this book.
Is this Miles on the cover of 81? Is that what he's wearing these days? They say you're going to be dealing with the Spider-Man of Brooklyn.
Then it's probably Miles. Then it's right? I didn't think that costume with any.
I didn't think so either. I'm not reading his new stuff, so I didn't know.
I haven't been reading his new stuff. I know Fable has, and I know Fable and Herm have, but that don't look like Miles' new suit.
Right. I mean, he's wearing like black and red, so I don't know.
I thought that was like 20. I mean, I can see it being Miles, looking at it more carefully, but I think they could have done a little bit better job giving that footnote. What else you read, Verno?
Only one more thing, brother.
There we go. That's
Daredevil.
Daredevil. Let's go
Number
over
36.
What'd you think about this book?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was a solid book, but it didn't feel like the end of this epic run. I get it, but they're labeling it as that's what they're calling it. So it didn't feel like the end of anything, and it didn't really feel like the beginning of anything. It just felt like another issue in the run. You know what I mean? But it was solid. I definitely liked it. We've got Daredevil out of prison with Elektra. We've got the wedding of Typhoid Mary and Kingpin. Have I what?
Have you ever read what's his name? Jason Aaron's Thor? Most of it. That's kind of like, so if you got to the end of that run, you know how it didn't really feel like the end? That's what I thought about this. I was like, we're just getting more.
Right. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I heard is like they're doing Devil's Reign now, and then Chip Zdarsky's back on Daredevil in some form, right?
I think it's going to be Daredevils.
Right.
You know?
I could see that.
Or the Devils of Hell's Kitchen, you know? Something like that.
Some kind of Daredevil-centric story with Chip Zdarsky writing it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what anywhere. Because basically he came out, or Marvel announced that 36 was the last issue. The internet freaked out. Zdarsky came out the next day and was like, I'm not going. Yeah.
Yeah, Zdarsky's cool like that. Zdarsky just doesn't care about it.
Right. He seems like after that crossover issue, he's like my favorite writer as a human being. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just the way he opened up in that. But I thought this was a cool story. The art was pretty solid. It's not Chichetto or Chichetto, as I'm told, but it was cool, man. What have you thought of the whole like recent Elektra Daredevil? Now that it's over, I just never felt like it went. Maybe I need to go back and reread it as a whole now. I didn't like that they were splitting 50-50 Daredevil, Elektra.
Right.
I never felt like we got too close to Elektra as Daredevil.
I think we did, or I personally did, especially because like I'm attached to the character. By the way, brother, we did read Me, You Love in the Dark. I think Verno's going to talk about it here in a little bit.
I might. I don't know.
He might.
I can.
But I loved it. But anyway, I digress. I've always been attached to Elektra, so seeing her kind of step out of her shell, she's a very dark character. She's very much like a Jason Todd and will kill before like doing anything else. So seeing her taking a step back, showing Matt that she cares, was a big test of her character.
Right. I get it, but I don't feel like there was any issues. I was like, oh man, that was really good. Like I just didn't. I was never into it that much. The whole multiple bullseyes thing felt kind of corny, and it didn't really land for me. And don't get me wrong, like I don't know, that's just me. Did you?
I loved it, especially because it's like Daredevil has had the same rogues gallery for a very long time, and it's a very small rogues gallery. You're not that big, but this felt very new. Yes, Daredevil did break out of prison. He's out. It's 3:21 a.m. over there. Whoa, that dude! Big shout out to you for being here, man. Thank you so much. By the way, guys, make sure you give this a like if you like what you're seeing. If you're still here, you probably do. But Daredevil's out of prison, so we're just kind of seeing his life now. We have Typhoid Mary, who's gathered a third personality. I don't know if anyone's picked up on that, but she's gathered that. So we're kind of diving more into her character. Kingpin and her are getting married, so they're trying to get married quick because Kingpin has moves to make. If you know Kingpin, he always has some ulterior motive to everything. And I guess he's kind of fooling Typhoid Mary, but he needs her for a service, and it's not just to be his wife. He needs an asset of her. So Elektra and Matt have a moment. They catch up, and Matt's continuing to be Daredevil. She kind of wants him to focus on being himself more, which I thought was kind of unique because it's usually the other way around. Because you'll see like the roles are kind of reversed. So like as a huge Daredevil fan, as someone who's read the history, like I've read every single Daredevil issue that's come out except for the Brubaker run. Still need to catch up on that, but I've heard good things. And the Diggle run was nothing special, but I heard. But there's a new Kingpin coming on. Butch kills. What's her name that was in this book? Oh my gosh, what was her name? Labreeze. He kills her right before the wedding.
Cool. Did he kill her?
I think he killed her.
They don't show.
I mean, she's old, bro. She's old. She's gonna die anyway.
I know, but they didn't show it. I don't think she's dead, bro, or else they would have showed her get killed. You know what I mean? They kill her off panel. They imply that she got killed, but I bet. Where's the body?
I think she died.
Right. I doubt it. No way.
Kingpin
they would have showed us.
Right. Kingpin meets up with Butch. Butch is friends with Mike Murdock, who's Matt's brother, who's filling in as the Matt Murdock role. So there's definitely that dynamic, and Matt does not like that. I don't know. This book is really cool because we're leading into Devil's Reign with them getting married, and Daredevil just takes a step back. He's like, you know what? This is never gonna end unless like I just let you be happy. Go for it. But then something comes across Fisk's desk, and that is the identity of Daredevil. So I guess he wants to out Matt Murdock now.
But he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Like he was just looking at it, blank pieces of paper. Like there's still that.
Do I do it? Do I not do it? So
he can't see it. He doesn't know.
There's a lot of mystery to Devil's Reign right now.
You get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
Like, is that the way you read it? That he opens it up and he's just pissed off that he still can't see. These papers are blank to him because of the spell that was cast that erased the ID of Daredevil from everybody's brains. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I would say yeah, but I think he always knew. I think like there's some part of him that like always knows that. I like a gut feeling of his, but we still have a lot to imply with Devil's Reign. I think what makes this event so good is how ominous it is because you don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's really a big testament to Zdarsky's Daredevil run.
Right. What all you pick? Are you going to pick up all the? You go on the full thing. You getting all the tie-ins and everything. You got Duggan's doing 3 issues of X-Men.
I don't know. I might. It depends on how I'm feeling. I'll start reading the tie-ins, but then if they just. I'm at the point right now where it's like I went heavy on King and Black tie-ins, and that's like the first event I've ever like kind of cut back on. I read the Star Wars tie-ins. The Fear State tie-ins was really, really, really screamed to me who gives a shit about tie-ins. Right. But then I look at the War of the Realms tie-ins, and I was like, that was really well done.
Was it?
Or like, yeah, it was. I like the War of the Realms.
I think it's like from reading for the past 2 years, it's very rare that a tie-in was worth it for me. You know what I mean? Like, Hickman wrote some banger tie-ins for Empire. Those were the best tie-ins that I can remember since I started reading new comics. But yeah, I don't know. I'll pick up the Moon Knight one because it's a cool. I've been liking that run. Jed McKay's writing it. Rod Reese doing the cover. That's a cool one. And then the other big one is Elektra 3-part miniseries for Devil's Reign.
I'm definitely picking up. Like it's like sometimes very hit or miss. Lately they've been misses, but It doesn't mean I'm not open to them.
Right.
But I'm not afraid to cut them off. That's the other thing. Because I know this is going to get an omnibus. I know I'm going to buy the omnibus. But also, if there's like a character that I haven't seen in a while, because like usually they'll do that with events, like they'll get their own series, right? Like we've kind of seen these characters, but in this event, will like bring them all together, and it's like yes, right. So I'll be interested with that. Gotham City Villains came out, you guys. I'm not gonna talk about this too much, but Danny DeVito wrote a really creepy story where basically like he loves Michelle Pfeiffer. Danny DeVito played Penguin, Batman, and basically him and Catwoman fall in love in one of his stories. It's really cool. My favorite story was Philip Kennedy's with Ricardo Federici. It was the Ra's al Ghul story, and it's written like a chessboard. It's written like in the format of a game of chess, and it was just really cool seeing like one of the two of the greatest minds, and I would say in like the tactical side of the DC universe going head to head, and just how you see like the different styles to play to chess, like how you like kind of see your opponent, which I thought was really cool. And then one other book I do want to give a brief mention to before we talk about. Actually, you know what, Verno? Do you want to talk about Hotel or Me Love in the Dark?
I don't care. We can talk about either one of them, bro.
Go for it.
I think the Me You Love in the Dark, it was a banger. Did you read the whole thing? You're caught up on it?
Yes, I am caught up.
I thought I'll say the same thing I said. It was like it's one of those perfect. This was 5 issues, and each issue did exactly what it was supposed to do. It just progressed it in a perfect kind of way. We get introduced to the idea. This woman, artist, moves into this house. It's a haunted house. She's looking for inspiration, falls in love with a ghost, and then they did a really nice job. 2 issues of developing their relationship, kind of teasing what is this ghost? Is it an alien? What's going on there? Then the relationship gets controlling. It gets negative and nasty. Then things go off the rail at the end of issue number 4, and then 5 is the wrap up from that and the conclusion. So it was perfect, man. The art was fire. Like this is everybody. I've heard so many people mention Middle West because it's the same creative team. Like this makes me want to go back and read Middle West because
go back and read Middle West. It's worth it.
They work so well together. Anything that these two are working on together in the future, I'll be picking up. Before reading this, Scotty Young to me was the Funko Pop variant guy. Now he's that badass writer that did the Me You Love in the Dark. You know what I mean?
He's like I would say he's a weird writer because he's so talented. And it's like, wow. Because it's like, it looks like a kid story almost. Like sometimes like Middle West looks like a kid story, but it just gets so much like an adventure. It's like it is kind of like a Western. Of course it's a Middle West. But shout out to this book, Wonder Woman Historia by Kelly Sue DeConnick. Philomena is a good friend of the show. Look at this artwork. And then tell me you don't like that.
I don't like it.
Verno, shut up.
I just wanted to. You told me to tell you that.
Oh my gosh. Right? What else is this page? Oh my god. Every page is a flex. I'm just going to say that right now. Go pick it up. I'm not going to tell you too much about it just because I want you to go pick it up for yourself. You don't know a whole lot about the history of the Themyscira and the different goddesses that are in the Wonder Woman mythos. This is a very good job going into detail, explaining it. So it's really cool to see that, especially it's like has this Game of Thrones feeling almost. So like,
does it explain the Bana Migdal or whatever the hell that is? Does it explain the different women? Do you know, or the different groups? Because I am curious about that. Also, how much does that cost?
This was like $6.99.
Okay,
it's like the same. It's the same price as Joker, bro.
Right.
If you go pick up Joker, you can pick up this. This is a much better book.
Nah.
But other than that, what do you have coming out, Bruno? What do you have coming out this week?
We're in the middle of Web Summer here on the Cerebros, so I got a bunch of stuff going on. Inferno 3 comes out this week, and I've got Ernie, Blurred Without Fear, and Dave from Comic Book Herald.
Oh, Blurred Without
Fear, I know that guy. Oh yeah,
Comic Book Herald, yeah, good people.
Oh yeah, some of the best. Probably honestly like the 2 best people on YouTube talking this era of X-Men comics. So they're coming on. We're going to talk about that, and then I got John from John's Comic. Huh? What?
2 best.
Yeah. I still don't know what you said, but I'll roll with it. But and then I'm doing an episode with John from John's Comics with Kids on the death of Gwen Stacy, Amazing Spider-Man 121 and 122, which is fun. I'm starting a new series called Comic Book Catch Up, which is exactly what I need to do. I'm reading so much new comics, and the channel's been 100% focused on new comics that I don't have enough time to read old comics. So I'm trying to make the channel more 50-50, where I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to do a lot more old comics and do catch up on the biggest stories in comics history that I may have missed. So if you're in the same boat as me, then that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to map out a way to try and get like a year's worth of reading, and then map out like what's the best stuff to read to kind of form a base of knowledge. So you know what I mean, to on a broader scale,
right?
because
You need
mostly
a guest,
what I know is X-Men.
Right? Yeah. If you ever need a guest, hit me up. I'll be there. John's
For
great.
sure.
Death of Gwen Stacy is a great Spider-Man story, which that's a good story. I'm excited. I'm excited you're gonna read that.
We're doing that, and then in the middle of the month, right when the movie comes out, I'm doing an episode on that, and then after that, with my buddy Peter from Two Geeks Different Streets, we're doing Spider-Man Blue, which is another Gwen Stacy kind of
right.
Focus story.
Tim Sale, right?
Right, and that's brilliant. Like I love the crap out of that. So that's kind of the way I plan to do these things, is maybe do 2 episodes of comic book catch up a month, and do like a mixture of classic stories and new stories to kind of not get too bogged down. Not everybody likes to read Bronze Age and Golden Age comics, so do a nice mixture of both of them, stuff from the 2000s and Bronze Age. And
yeah. I've definitely been doing that. I've been kind of catching up because when I started reading, I was reading Modern and Bronze Age and Silver Age at the same time. I'm still catching up on a lot of that too because they're just endless stories. But I think my biggest gap is between like the late 90s to like 2010, 2013. Kind of like right when New 52 started, like Marvel Now started ish. So that's where I'm trying to build my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So right on, man. A lot of great things over on this end of the shtick. What do we have? We had interview with J.M. DeMatteis the other day. That was great. We're gonna be talking with John Leese, writer of Hotel from AWA, and he has a book coming out the following week, which I've read. It's great. It's phenomenal.
Crimson Cage.
On this Wednesday, yeah, Crimson Cage is a good book. He'll be on Wednesday, part of the PCP Army Bad Batch. So shout out all of them. Missing Link. We also have a video coming out on Wednesday. We are going to be doing the MCU movie challenge.
Nice.
That you tagged me in. So definitely check that out.
You guys are going to do it as like a tag team thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we're doing like 2 separate lists. It's just I haven't even made my list yet. We're recording tonight, so I'll have to make it.
Fucking difficult, bro.
Oh my gosh.
It really
will
is.
You have handsome co-hosts for the show? Clearly not, because I haven't been invited yet. So
yeah, you didn't make the cut, bro. There's a height limit. There's an age limit.
There is. Damn it. But other than that, we are kind of pushing the 500 subs. Not really advertising it, but we are 9 away. So we do have something dope planned for the 500 sub giveaway. I haven't really posted like, oh my gosh, how we get a 500? I'm not really about that, but
no, I'm not about it either.
If they feel inclined to share, go for it. I'm not gonna stop you, right? You want to help a girl on there, right?
If you'd like to sub up to me, do that too, because
sub
I
like up to Verno. We dropped his link earlier. Nick, you're a mod. If you want to drop his link as well, you want to drop his link for everyone right now. And his link is also in the description. Other than that, Crisis comes out every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We have Creators Corner Wednesday as well. Then we have Archives coming out on Friday, talking about King in Black, a book I know Verno didn't really like. So, that's going to be King in Black. We're going to be talking about.
No, I didn't dislike King in Black. I just didn't like that Thor part. King in Black to me felt like it was like a bunch of amazing moments that didn't quite have the emotional weight behind it. What was the one before that? What was the event that he did before that?
Absolute Carnage.
Yeah, it didn't that one was just like so heartfelt towards the end with the Dylan and Eddie stuff. I felt like King in Black, he was ready to move on by the end of it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then plus I was symbioted out at that time.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people were in that boat.
Right.
A lot of people were in that boat. Other than that, Creators Corner, everyone asks, fully booked up now until March. So that's really cool. I can kind of talk about this. Roy Thomas will be on the show in January. More details will come. Dates and all that.
Stan Lee's going to be joining him soon. Him and Jack Kirby both coming on. I can't believe the guests you get, bro. You're amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I know. Len Wein is next. R.I.P. to those. But I'm really excited to talk to Roy Thomas. It's been an exciting journey. So, other than that, you guys, that's the show. Make sure to sub to Verno. Verno, again, thank you so much for filling in to Bryce. I know he'll be really proud. No movie segment this week. I got out of homework. because Bryce ain't here. Other than that, check out all the PCB Army Bad Batch has to offer. Their links are also in the description below. They got great content. Fable had a great show with Big Herman missing the link the other day. And Big Herm is going to be the closer for Whiplash Wednesday for the time being. So stay tuned. Everyone have a good one.
Yeah!